Alright, so this is the last of our factoring. We have factoring with two terms. So started with four terms, then we went to three, and then now we're at two terms. And these are our formula for the two terms, and it's a squared minus b squared. You could also say x squared minus c squared. It's your choice. And it's basically just a formula. And we also have another formula here, which I'll explain in a minute or two. But here's our first one. This is two terms. And what is a squared minus b squared is this. And what it is this. If you take any two, x minus 3, and then over here you put x plus 3, just any two, a and b, an a and a b, any letter, any number, any letter, doesn't matter what you do. Here, I'll give it the other one over here. This is x minus y. And then the other one you have to put x plus y. Anytime you have these two binomials and you multiply them, you get this x squared plus 3x minus 9. And in the middle, those two terms are just going to cancel. So all we're left with is x squared minus 9. Two terms. And if you notice, what is x squared? It's x squared. And what is 3 squared? 9. This was our a, and this was our b. It's a minus b, a plus b. And you're going to get a squared minus b squared. So in reverse, if you start with a squared minus b squared, you're going to get a minus b, a plus b. Watch, it works over here as well. So we get x squared minus xy, plus xy, minus xy minus y squared. And again, cancel, cancel, you get x squared minus y squared. Our a was x, our b was y. You take any two letters. We call the first one a and the second one b just to keep a nice formula pattern. But you take any two letters, any two numbers, any two variables, a variable and a number, two numbers, it's always going to be the same situation because the middle two numbers will always cancel. You're going to get one positive from the plus, one minus from the negative. So we know that when we factor this with these two terms, we're going to end up with this. 1 minus, 1 plus. And all we have to do is find what was our a and what's our b. So the way we start it is by putting little parentheses here. So we have to find out what's being squared and then what's being squared. What's the first letter and what's the first number. And that's our a squared and our b squared. So, what's being squared? And for the 9, what's being squared? 3. So the answer is x minus 3, x plus 3. This is our factored form. Works every time. These are the quickest. I know it seems, well, that's just way too simple. And that's good. It's supposed to be. Here's our next one. So you put square, and we put square. Alright. So what is being squared? 2. And what's being squared here? Y. Alright, so we know we're going to get 2 minus y and 2 plus y. Here, I want you to try this one now. Try x squared minus 81. What is the factored form for that? And then after you finish that one, try y squared minus, and we'll give you a little bit trickier one here, 4c squared. So hit pause and try them. Okay, now you unpause it. Let's try them. So we put a parenthesis and a parenthesis. And what's being squared? And what's being squared? So you should have had x minus 9, x plus 9. Alright, the trickier one. Again, it's two terms, so you know there's a minus there. So term 1, term 2. What's being squared? And 2 gives you 4, and c would give you c squared. So our answer is y minus 2c, y plus 2c. That's it. Alright, you got it. That's two terms. Alright, so now let's put it together. A lot of times there's a GCF. So we look at this one and go, oh, there's two terms. But wait, 2 is not a perfect square. which means there has to be a common factor. So you look at 2 and 18, they both have a 2. So that gives us 1 minus 9. They also have an x squared in common, so you got to take that out. So nothing and x squared. Now that inside, there's your two terms. And what's being squared minus what's being squared. So it's 1 and 3x. So it's 1 minus 3x, 1 plus 3x. Now we can put it back over here, bringing down the 2x squared that we factored out, and then put in the factored form of the 1 minus 9x squared. And there we go. All right, try the next one. And that's it. And we'll cover the formula ones in class if we need to. We really don't need the formula for those. So I want you to try this y4 minus 16, and when you come into class, I'd like to see if it's finished, and we'll work on it in there.